Hello everyone, this is Mulham. In this video I'm gonna go over how I developed my intertype through 3 phases and became more successful with catching trades with a higher take profit and a tighter stop loss. I'll explain 3 intertypes, the pros and cons of each one. This video especially will help you if you're about to create your own setup. The last intertype is my main one I use now, and the first 2 are my previous ones. If you really appreciate my videos, I would appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. Entry type 1. So now going over the first entry type, which is the traditional one, the limit order. So imagine price going and reaching to a point of interest. When price comes here, before then, you mark your point of interest, many of them, and then you basically set your limit order either at the beginning of the point of interest or at the middle. But for now, because mostly we're gonna have it at the beginning of the point of interest, you're gonna set your limit order here, stop loss always above the point of interest. Sometimes maybe if there's a swing high above the point of interest, you will need to put it above. So stop loss here, and then take profit any liquidity area, let's say here. So this is how I started trading ICT. The pros of this type of entry is that you will not miss trades compared to other types. A lot of times, if this is a valid point of interest, you will not miss the trades as you have your limit order. But on the other type entries, you may miss a lot of trades. Also, you can set your orders and then go do whatever you want. You don't need to be in front of the chart for a lot of time. So this is a very chilling entry type. However, the cons of this entry type is that the reward to risk ratio is not the best. So as you can see, you will have to enter at the beginning of the point of interest, and then your stop loss always above the point of interest. If this zone is much larger, then your stop loss will be larger. So that's one of the so it's gonna be like this. And then imagine having a very close liquidity here, so it's gonna be not worth it. But in this intertype, your stop loss is always gonna be higher compared to other entries. Another con is that the win rate is much less, as you are now waiting for a confirmation, and lots of the POIs that you will mark would not be valid and will not hold the price. If your style of trading is chilling, you just want to set orders and then go do whatever you want, you don't like to be on the chart 24/7, and you always struggle or get anxious when looking at the price moving, so you can use this entry type. It's gonna take a lot of the stress off you, and it's a nice one, but the other ones I prefer them more. But until now, I know a lot of people use this entry type and they are still profitable. Entry type 2. So now going over the entry type 2, we can see that it's the same. So price was reaching a higher time frame POI, and then price reacts heavily. So instead of entering from here with a stop loss here as per the type 1, what we are gonna do is wait for a change of character, which happened here, and then as the change of character happened, we're gonna look for another point of interest in the lower time frame. So saying that you're using the 50 minutes for this POI, you can use the 5 minutes for this lower time frame POI. So just a lower time frame POI, it's either fair value gap, order block, breaker block, all of those point of interest. And now we're gonna mark this point of interest and we're gonna set our order at the beginning or at the middle. What I prefer is just below the middle of the fair value gap. That's my favorite entry, is the fair value gap. So I enter from the fair value gap. Stop loss can be above the point of interest, or if you want to feel safe, you can put it above the swing high. But most of the time I put it here just above the point of interest, as it gives a much higher reward to risk ratio. And basically that's it. So we wait for a change of character, price comes back to the fair value gap or the point of interest, order block, whatever, and then we're gonna wait for price to go down, targeting liquidity. So the pros of this type of entry is that we are doing a confirmation entry. So as price showed the reaction from the higher time frame POI, price most likely will respect it and not go above it soon. There was a change of character too, which adds up to the other confluences. Therefore, it gives a higher win rate. Also, it gives a better reward to risk ratio, as stop loss can be placed above the lower time frame POI, or sometimes the swing high if it's too close to the POI. Entry type 3. So in this entry type, we're going to use the same POI, so it's a higher time frame POI. Remember, for the type 2 and type 3, you can use a liquidity sweep instead of the POI. So this POI, it can be a previous order block, a previous fair value gap, or it can also be liquidity sweep. So imagine price, so we have this higher time frame, for example, swing high, price sweeps above it and then go down, as my video about the 4-hour sweep. So this entry type can be implemented too. So basically, we wait for the higher time frame POI to be touched and then react from there, change of character on the same time frame. So imagine this is as the 5 minutes time frame, for example. Price goes down, change of character here, price goes up. We have this same POI on the 5 minutes or the higher time frame. So I want to see price reacting from the higher time frame POI. So when we go to the lower time frame, I want to see price goes up to the POI, goes down, goes up, breaking this high, and then goes down, creating a change of character here. So we have another liquidity sweep on the lower time frame, and then a change of character, creating another point of interest, or in my case, what I prefer is the fair value gap. So creating a fair value gap here, price goes down, we immediately have our limit order at the fair value gap here, stop loss just above this high, and then taking profit anywhere targeting liquidity. If you can see, we have a very tight stop loss. So this entry type, it has a double confirmation, or I mean maybe triple too. So we have the first confirmation is here, second is here, the reaction first, and then we go to the lower time frame, we can see another confirmation. So we have 3 confirmations, and it can work as a scalp with or against a trend, and there is no daily bias needed for this entry type, as we are dealing with the lower time frame and we have 3 confirmations. It has a very tight stop loss and a much reward. If you master this entry, I guarantee you can get 5 to 10 R in less than an hour sometimes. I've tried this. However, the cons of this entry type is that you'll miss lots of trades, as the criteria will not be met always. So sometimes you'll see price reacting to this POI and then goes down immediately without creating all of those stuff. Sometimes price will come here and then reacts aggressively to the downside, not even touching this higher time frame POI, which is only the second criteria of this entry type, not even the third, which is this. So most of the time you'll miss those trades, but when you see them, enter, as they are definitely worth it. So if I want to compare the 3 types, just very quickly go over them very quickly. So we have the short setup here. For the first one, it would be here, and then stop loss above the zone, and targeting, let's see, we're always targeting this area, okay? So this one. So this is the first entry. The second entry for the second type would be here, and stop loss, see, above this swing high, and then targeting the same area. It's not always going to be the case. Like if you are, now for this entry, what we do is this. It's going to be somewhere in here, we don't know exactly, but the stop loss is going to be this small. And then if we target this, let's say here, this one is a 3.78, this one is a 3, This one is 9. Even if we go just to here, this is already 6. So I know this is not logical, but this is for real the case. So I'll go quickly over an example that happened today. It's a 90% perfect example for me. There was only one point that was missing that prevented me from entering this trade. So I'll go over this trade very quickly. So on the 4 hours, the EU, we had this sweep of the 4-hour swing high. You can see that it went above. It gives a little bit of respect for this order block here, but then price sweep above. So basically, after this sweep, I was on the 5 minutes, and then if you can see that I was waiting for, so this is the sweep, I was waiting for a change of character, which doesn't happen. Price goes down. I knew that if I will take my change of character from here, it would be so far. So I was expecting price to make another sweep, which happened here. We can see that this high was swept by this and then goes down immediately. So for now, this is my change of character, which was here, this low. This is now a low, and then price goes up. So now we have a change of character here. Now, in this change of character, we do have this clear fair value gap, and it's extreme fair value gap with an order block. So this is a valid fair value gap for me. Okay, now if I use the replay just to show you everything, so price was here, and by the way, I shared everything in the Discord, and this was one of my ideas today. So price goes here. After it went here to this fair value gap, I went to the 1 minute time frame, and I was waiting for a change of character, or at least another displacement to the downside. So price comes here and then goes up. So here I was expecting price to take this high, which doesn't, but then gives me a displacement. So as per my rule, my flexible rule, I could enter on this fair value gap, but my A+ setup doesn't allow me to. So I do have some rules that takes me from 100% to 90 or 80%, but today I decided not to. So basically, I could enter on this fair value gap here, which you see, the first confirmation is liquidity sweep here. Second confirmation is the 5 minute fair value gap, where we see the reaction here. The third one is the 1 minute fair value gap here. So could enter here. My stop loss is just above this high. As I said, this is now my A+ setup, but I saw it today and it's my 80% probability setup. As you can see, there's almost equal highs here, which I don't like. But for me, with this displacement to the downside, I feel like this is gonna be going to the downside. So I was deciding to enter here, stop loss down here, stop loss above here, and then targeting, let's see, maybe this order block if it's gonna go up. So here, and then that's what happened. So yeah, so that's the idea of the entry type. This is now my A+ setup. This is my 80% setup. So that's it for today's video. If you like the video, as always, don't forget to support me. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.